Hello, I'm Emma Green. I'm the Tennis Elbow Queen, and welcome to day one of the Pain Relief Challenge. So I hope you have joined. If you have joined the challenge, you'll be getting emails from me that contain the information about the Pain Relief Challenge. If you've not joined, and this is the first you're hearing about it, and you want to join, you can go to my website, tenniselbowqueen.com/challenge. tenniselbowqueen.com, so all one word, tenniselbowqueen.com/challenge, and you can see the sign up there. So you can sign up, you can be getting the emails, you can be getting the information that is going to help basically for you to become pain-free, because these are the things that have been proven to really help make a massive difference when we're talking about tennis elbow pain. So today we are talking about heat. So if you're in the challenge, you got a video this morning all about heat. And there was a little bit of a bonus in there as well, because I kind of talked about ice too, and the difference between the two and when to use one and when to use the other. So you kind of got that extra little bonus today as well, because I am going to talk all about heat, but you got a little bit of the ice in there as well. Like I say, if you haven't joined and you want to join, tenniselbowqueen.com/challenge, and you can sign up there and you can get that information as well. So today was all about heat. And the reason that we do heat rather than ice is that most people who are suffering with tennis elbow have had it for quite a while. And once you've had something like tennis elbow for quite a while, there are very limited inflammatory cells left around that area. So there's very little inflammation. So let's just backtrack a little bit and talk about inflammation. So inflammation is something that happens when a tissue is injured. You know, if you roll your ankle, say you're walking down the street, you step onto a stone, you roll your ankle, blows up like a balloon. That's inflammation in action. So that sort of that swelling, that blowing up like a balloon, that's inflammation. So what the body does, it sends inflammatory cells to the area of an injury, because those inflammatory cells have different jobs, and they basically start the healing process, is basically what they do. They kickstart the healing process. Now, that inflammatory process has a certain time frame that it goes through. And after about 12 weeks, it's pretty much finished. Now, that's not to say that it can't irritate again, or you can't do something and create it again. You absolutely can. But the inflammatory process after about 12 weeks is finished. And when that is finished, there are fewer and fewer inflammatory cells around that specific area. And we always think of, the ankle that blew up like a balloon. We're going to put ice on that because we want to reduce that down. Yes, absolutely. If you've had tennis elbow for a couple of days, you definitely want to be doing that. But as time goes on, there's less and less inflammatory cells there. Ice is not really going to make a huge amount of difference. Now, ice can numb it for you. So if you're somebody who's struggling to sleep at nighttime, sometimes ice can be helpful at night to numb it off, but that's pretty much all ice is going to do for you at that point. Heat is going to be your friend. We're going to heat the heck out of it. And you're going to use something like this. I kind of like these heat pads that you throw in the microwave. And you can see this one is kind of shaped. This is a shaped one for your neck. So it goes around your neck like this. But Emma, it's my elbow that hurts. I know. But so often what happens when you've had pain in your elbow for a while, we're going to see issues up here. We're going to see problems around the neck and the shoulders. We're going to see other issues. So if you've had this for longer than 3 months, if you have pain in your elbow for longer than 3 months, you are going to need to put the heat around your neck. And it feels really nice. It feels lovely. You want it to be comfortable. We always want to be protecting the skin. We always want to be protecting the tissues. So if it is too hot, that's not okay. If it's feeling too hot, you're kind of like, ooh, that's feeling like it's going to burn me, take it off. It needs to be a really nice, comfortable heat. It needs to be like, oh, this feels amazing. I could stay here all day. It feels like the spa, or, that type of thing. It needs to feel nice. So what you need to be doing is you need to be heating your neck and shoulders, and then you're going to bring the heat pad down around your elbow and your forearm because it needs to be on there too. What the heat does is it increases circulation to the area. We know that in tennis elbow, it's the tendon that's affected. And again, if you got my pre-challenge emails, you got a little bit of information about the tendon and what's happening and how it's caused and how long it goes on for. So hopefully you got that little bit of information. But the tendon that is affected, and a tendon is basically just a connective tissue. It attaches the muscles of the forearm to the bone of the elbow, and a tendon does that. So a tendon is a connective tissue. The tendon that is affected for tennis elbow is actually really short. It's only about 1 centimeter long, so like less than ½ inch. It's quite a short tendon, quite small. But it's that tendon that is affected when you have tennis elbow. That is the structure that is injured, the tissue that is injured. The problem with tendons is they do not have a good blood supply, just the way they're made. But the problem with that is that a tissue needs a blood flow, a circulation, in order to be able to heal. The reason for that is that the building blocks for the healing process come in that circulation, come in that blood flow. So if a tissue naturally doesn't have a good circulation, and it's just the way it's made, it's not a bad thing, it's not a negative thing, it's just the way tendons are made. They're literally just a connective tissue. Doesn't need to have much blood flow for that. But when it's injured, it really struggles to heal. And that's why it can go on and on and on and on and on, because you're not getting the building blocks for healing that you need to in that area in the circulation. So we're going to do as much as we can to increase the circulation to that area, and the heat does that really nicely. If you think about it, if you've had heat on your elbow for 10 minutes or so and you take the heat off, your arm underneath is going to look, a bit pink, a little reddened. You've got circulation into the area. That's what we need. So heat the heck out of it. Heat is your friend. But as I say, heating neck and shoulders so that we're bringing some of the tension out of that area, and then heating through the elbow so we're getting an increase in circulation to the tendon because that's what it needs. But crucially for this challenge, the pain relief challenge, the reason heat is going to give you pain relief is that these muscles here in the forearm, if you've had tennis elbow for a while, they're going to be quite tight. If they're tight, they pull on that tendon. When those muscles are tight and they pull on that tendon, that can cause pain. So by reducing the tension in these muscles, if we can take the tension out of this, and that's what the heat will do, brings the tension down, it's going to reduce the amount of pulling and tugging onto the elbow, on through the tendon, and you're going to feel better. Now, is heat going to cure it? Is heat going to heal it? No, it's not. But what it is doing is it's going to give you pain relief because it brings a muscle tension down. If the muscles are tight, they're pulling on the tendon, it's going to hurt. If the muscles are relaxed off, they're not going to pull on the tendon is going to hurt less. Okay, so we're bringing the pain down. We're also increasing the circulation to that area. As we increase the circulation to the tendon, we are basically kickstarting the healing process, is what you're doing with heat. So heat really is your friend. So my recommendation is that you heat as much as possible. The gold standard is 10 minutes out of every hour through the day that you can. So some people say to me, well, that's just impossible, Emma. I couldn't possibly do that. Do it as much as you can. Do it as much as you can. The heat is going to work when it's on. The heat is not going to work when it's not on. So clearly we need the heat to be on to be working. So like I say, ideally I like the ones that go in the microwave. So if you're at home, you can obviously throw something in the microwave if you have a microwave. If you don't have a microwave or you don't have access to a microwave, you can use a plug-in one. That's completely fine. You can use a hot water bottle, like let's go old school. You can absolutely use a hot water bottle. The heat from that is going to give you the same effects. Hot shower, hot bath, that will give you the same effects. Hot tub, That's really kind of the gold standard because we can get you in from here down. So that's amazing. If you have access to a hot tub, yes, that's great. But getting the heat into that area is going to be incredibly helpful. So that is today's action step, and it is today's top tip, is to heat the heck out of it, get the heat in there. So I recommend using a heat pad that is quite large. You know, the neck ones tend to be good because you do need to put it around your neck, but then when you bring it down onto your arm, you can get the elbow and the forearm all covered by the same heat pad, you know? Just like if you've got a small one, some of them are kind of like long, sort of rectangular shapes. It just doesn't really cover enough. You want it to be a little bit more meaty, a little bigger than that, so it's gonna cover more. And so a heat pad that is this kind of shape is gonna be a little better for that. If you got the email this morning, there's a link in there to the one that many of my clients really like. It's one that you throw in the microwave. There's also a link in there to specific arm wraps as well that you can utilize too. It's not too late to sign up. tenniselbowqueen.com/challenge. You can still sign up and you can still get all of the information, because when you get tomorrow's email, I'll put in the links and everything from today, so it kind of builds as we go through the week. So what questions do you have about heat? What questions do you have? I know obviously the biggest one I always answer is, well, why does everybody tell me to put ice on it? You know, why am I still putting ice on it when I've had this for 3 years? It's like, well, I don't really know, because there's no inflammatory cells there. Now, there is a little caveat. If you do something that you feel like you've irritated something, say you were moving house and you were packing all those boxes and lifting all those boxes and you feel like it irritated your elbow. Yeah, maybe you did. There is a case where you can get, you know, an acute inflammation on top of a chronic condition. If that's the case, you can then ice it for 3 days, allow it to settle down, then switch back to the heat. You can still, even if your elbow is irritated for whatever reason, you can still heat your neck and shoulders. That's going to be beneficial. You can still heat through your forearm. That's going to be beneficial. And you can ice the elbows specifically if you need to. But like I say, 3 days will be enough, and then switch back to the heat. So what other questions do you have? I'm just gonna pull this feed up on my laptop because I'm on my phone here, and my phone doesn't always show me the questions. So I'm just gonna pull that up as well, just so that I don't miss anything. Let me find this. There we are. All right. So if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them into the chat. If any questions come up as you're doing this today as well, please, you can either come back to this this thread and pop it into the chat, or email me. You know, please feel free to email me if you do have questions. And that is somewhere else I'm going to check as well, so I don't want to miss anything. And I think we are good. Okay, so one question I did get. It's not actually to do with heat, but I am going to answer it, seeing as we're here. So what do I think of shockwave therapy? That's a question. Or TENS therapy. So shockwave is right now kind of the, people were hoping it was going to be the panacea for tendon injuries. A little bit like if you go back, 5 to 10 years, PRP was going to be the panacea for tendon injuries, and then it turned out not to be. Shockwave is kind of filling that gap. So I have worked with people who have felt better after shockwave. I've worked with people who it's not made any difference, and I've worked with people who feel worse after shockwave. So it's like it's the full spectrum. What I can tell you is the research doesn't show that shockwave heals tendons. So the research is not there yet. Now that may change in the future, but as of right now, it doesn't show that it heals tendons. Some people can get pain relief from shockwave, and that's okay. That's great. If you get pain relief, that's fine. But know that the tendon isn't healed. You need to do other stuff to heal the tendon. This kind of brings me on to TENS therapy. TENS is, it stands for transcutaneous electrocutaneous neuromuscular stimulation. So TENS is basically an electrotherapy. It feels tingly, pins and needlesy. It's a small little machine with 2 leads, 2 pads on the end of each lead, and it feels tingly, pins and needlesy. TENS basically can give you pain relief. The way it does that is it blocks the pain messages getting through from the nerves to the brain. It's a little bit like Tylenol, a little bit like a pain medication. So a pain medication like Tylenol or paracetamol stops the pain messages getting through. Doesn't do anything else, doesn't heal the tendon, doesn't reduce inflammation, doesn't increase circulation, stops the pain messages, that's it. So TENS can give you some pain relief while it's on. A little bit like the heat, can give you some pain relief while it's working, while it's on, but it's not gonna heal the tendon, and it is going to be transient. So you take the heat off, the muscles tighten up, the pain comes back. You take the TENS off, you get the sensation back. There it is, very, very similar. So these can be useful adjuncts. They can be useful things to do and try as you are going through your healing journey, but know that just doing one of these things, just doing the heat, for example, is not going to heal your elbow. You've got to do other stuff. Just doing TENS is not going to heal your elbow. You've got to do other stuff. Just doing shockwave, it's not going to heal your elbow. You need to do other stuff. So I hope that helps. I hope that answered that question. If there are any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let me just refresh here. Okay. So the task for today is to heat the heck out of it. And as I say, 10 minutes out of every hour is the gold standard. I used to tell people 2 or 3 times a day and get the heat on it, and that would be fine. And then I had 2 clients, both completely independently of each other, because one was in the US and one was in the UK at the same time. And they both heated way more than I told them to, and they both got better faster. So it's like, what is going on here? So then when I started to look into the physiology and the pathology of the injury, it's like, an increase in blood supply, an increase in blood flow is going to make a big difference to this. So hence, heat the heck out of it. So get the heat on today. If you are playing along with the challenge, post a picture of your heat. You can post a picture in this group with #day1, and somebody is going to win a prize at the end of the week. So if you want to, you got to be in it to win it. So if you want to play along, please put a picture in the group, #day1, of your heat. You don't have to put your face in if you don't want to. That's fine. You can just put in the picture of your heat, whatever works for you. But do the heat. The heat is going to help. The heat is going to bring the pain down. The heat is going to be something that is very, very helpful to you. So start doing that now. If other questions do come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. You will get tomorrow's, day 2's email tomorrow. That will come in the morning with the next action step in, and I'll be going live at the same time tomorrow to answer questions. So if you have any questions, either email me ahead of time or you can bring them to the live, whatever is most comfortable for you. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Go and get the heat on. I will see you then. Take care. Bye.